Can you believe it, Cleveland? Finally, we are ready for playoff football, and the road starts in Houston, Texas. Welcome to the AFC Wildcard. This is our Browns pregame report here on Browns Digest. Brendan Gulick and Anthony Meglin with you, as we have been all season long, getting ready for Cleveland Browns football, and it's a big one. This team is back in Houston for the second time in less than a month. If anything could turn out the way it did the last time they were down here, I think we'd have a whole bunch of pretty happy Browns fans back in Cleveland and, frankly, around the country and in this building, because I'm telling you, as I traveled here, there are so many Browns fans that have made the trip down to Houston. It's going to feel like maybe a more neutral site game than a true road game. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I mean, I cannot believe the energy that's even back home. Like, this morning was crazy, just around town, at the grocery store, at the gym. I mean, I've been barking at everybody as we've gone, up and down. Everywhere you go, man. We were talking at the gym. Nobody had their headphones in. Everyone was just talking Browns football. I mean, it's so awesome. This city's ready for this. This team's ready for this, and this is a great opportunity for the Browns to kick off Super Wildcard Weekend and really make a statement to the whole NFL who's going to be watching this game today.
And how cool is it that you go all the way back to week 2 and you think about the adversity this team faced with Nick Chubb going down for the season, and we're kind of conditioned to feel like, here we go again, right? Let's just watch another season because this is going to go nowhere. And then all the injuries at quarterback. Here you go. We get to an NFL playoff game without your starting quarterback, running back, or 2 offensive tackles that were with you at the beginning of the season. It's a pretty remarkable journey that this team has been on, and they've earned their way here for sure. They're the 5 seed. The conversation maybe for a different time on whether or not they should be the 5 seed or if they should restructure the playoff format. But the reality is this team is ready for this stage. They've got the right veteran leadership. They've got young guys making good plays. I think they're primed for a big run.
And you watch a lot of playoff games. We haven't got to watch them as Browns fans for a long time, but when you watch these playoff games, like, there's going to be stuff that happens during the game. There's going to be some adversity that the Browns face. They're going to get hot in times, and it's going to be kind of this up and down thing. But, I go back to a couple weeks ago after the Jacksonville game. In the locker room, Joe Flacco made a comment. He got the game ball, and he made about the team and how they are battle tested in a lot of different ways. And they and it's really proven out over games, but it'll prove out today when stuff may not go their way the whole time, but it'll give them the ability to fight back and be in it, when the chips are down, and they have that veteran leadership with Flacco and the rest of these guys.
All right, we're going to try to power through some of the background noise because it's pregame, and that means everybody's rehearsing and trying to get ready for a big day here in Houston. While they're playing some of the music, I'll let you carry it for a second. What are you most interested to watch today when the Browns have the football?
Yeah, when Cleveland's got the ball, we go back 3 weeks ago to Christmas Eve. It was the Amari Cooper show, right? It was Joe Flacco to Amari Cooper, 265 yards, 11 catches, spectacular catches, timely catches. If you're Houston, you're taking Amari Cooper away. So for Cleveland, the response is, where's that chess piece going to go for you? Who is going to step up today? And that's what I'm most excited for. Is it going to be Elijah Moore? Is this an Elijah Moore day where, think back to that Thursday night game before his scary injury, him and Joe Flacco were kind of getting on a roll. They threw a touchdown pass to each other, had 61-ish yards through the air, and they were kind of starting to roll. So is this a big Elijah Moore day? Is this another big David Njoku day? It could be both, right? And then with Cedric Tillman out, who's going to step up? How's the offense going to change? Is it Harrison Bryant that kind of steps into that role as that big blocking type, huge catch type guy? So I'm really looking forward to seeing where the Browns offense goes without Amari Cooper. Yes, Cooper's going to have a ton of catches, but if you're Houston, you cannot let number 2 do what he did to you like he did last time.
Yeah, but even at that, I mean, how much can you really completely shut a guy down? I mean, that's the crux of the conversation here, right? As you think about the lead up to this game, a lot of it is around, hey, how is it going to be different for Houston trying to defend Amari Cooper? I don't know that you can just change your whole defensive scheme. Look, some of it were big, deep shots, right? I mean, the Browns opened with a long pass play to start the game. So I don't expect Cooper to threaten that record again today, but I do expect him to have some success.
Yeah, no question. You definitely could. And he's good enough that we've seen it a bunch of times. Think back to Arizona. Think back a couple times during the year, even to this Houston game. If you put two guys on him, that doesn't mean you're going to stop him, right? He's good enough to still get open. He's got the best hand, some of the best hands in the league. So as long as Flacco's ripping it today and number two's in that area, you got to feel confident he's going to come down with it. So while he may not reset that record like he did a couple weeks ago, I still can see him having a handful of catches and still have a nice day.
And you mentioned David Njoku. He has been like instant chemistry with Joe Flacco from the time they started, a couple of months ago now. And frankly, as much as Amari Cooper found a ton of success when he was here, a few weeks ago, I do feel that David Njoku a lot of times is the best option for Flacco. Some of that's because of the way that Flacco is so good in the play action game. Some of it's scheme. But I anticipate David Njoku having a big day tonight. That doesn't necessarily mean statistically. Maybe he does, but I think he's going to have a huge impact on this game.
And I love the story of David Njoku. Like his impact on the game is so much more than catching the football. Like if he's got the opportunity to make impacts in the run game, he's going to. If he's going to have his chances in the pass game, he's such a freaky athlete. And it's been so fun to watch his progression this year, where it was early on, had a couple drops early. We weren't real sure about it. And then, boom, he just took this team over and became a true leader on this team. So you're excited about what the Chiefs going to do, today and make a huge impact, both when they're running the football and when the Browns are throwing it around.
All right, how about the other side of the ball? Because the real story of this Browns team this year, while everybody around the country wants to talk quarterback, it was Deshaun Watson, now Joe Flacco, and I get all of that. The heart and soul of this team is on the defensive side of the ball, and it's because they've played such good defense that it's taken pressure off of the offense as it's tried to find its footing with so many players in and out. And that's not to say that the defense hasn't had a few challenges along the way with some injuries. This group is probably about as healthy as they've been in a little while. I know Grant Delpit's still not available today. We have not gotten a pregame injury report, but the indications from somebody like Ian Rappaport are that Denzel Ward is probably going to be okay and probably play today. Waiting to find out official word from the team on that. But, I've seen a lot of numbers that have been really interesting lately. When Denzel Ward is on the field, it is a complete game changer for the way the Browns play defense, especially in man coverage. They are astronomically better when he's on the field in man coverage than when he's not. Now, I don't know what that would mean if Denzel's not at full health and he's on the field, but hopefully we're going to see him out there and playing well.
Yeah, the thing about Denzel Ward and what makes him so special is his ability to just lock down his side of the field. Remember back years ago, Revis Island was the whole thing. He's got that similar feel to him where, hey, if Denzel Ward's out there, you don't really throw it to that side of the field, and that's going to be a big factor in today's game. CJ Stroud has been incredible this year. He's going to be the Rookie of the Year. He was in the MVP conversation early on before his injury. But if there's one thing that he struggles with, it's thrown against man-to-man coverage. And what the Browns are going to do today and what they've done all year is come out and say, our three cornerbacks are better than anybody you put on that side of the football. We're going to man you up all game long. You may get one or two, but I'm going to force you to be accurate from 4:30 p.m. to 8:30 whenever that game's over. You have to be on it every single throw. And that is something that CJ Stroud struggles with. He's 27th ranked quarterback against man coverage. And the Browns have the best man coverage team in all of the NFL. So you're excited to see that matchup, and a healthy Denzel would go, at least a Denzel that's playing, would go a long way for that Browns defense to shut them down.
And look, I think, when you see a lot of those kinds of stats, and they're great numbers and they're reflective of impressive effort, there is a reality that those numbers are bolstered by what you don't see in the secondary. It's the pressure that you can generate on the quarterback because of your defensive line. And the Browns, I think the biggest change they've had across the board the whole season, if you take Flacco out of the mix for just a moment, because I still think Deshaun Watson's a capable quarterback, I think it's what they did at the defensive line in the offseason that altered the trajectory of this team. It fixed so many more things beyond just defensive line. And yes, Myles Garrett's playing like an MVP caliber player for sure. And certainly a defensive player of the year, I think likelihood at this point. The additions of Dalvin Tomlinson in the middle, the increased health and frankly better productivity from guys like Jordan Elliott, Shelby Harris has had a really good year. Obviously, Zadarius Smith has been really important. When those guys play really well, all of a sudden now your secondary doesn't have to cover quite as long, and those numbers look better, and everybody else feels better about their production.
It's such a connected defense, and that's the best part about it, is that when it's clicking, everyone's playing well. And like you said, it starts up front. Look out for Zadarius Smith today. Because what we've seen and what we're going to see today is Myles Garrett versus Laramie Tunsil, which is an all-time matchup, right?
Sweet.
Both of those are good. And Tunsil's, frankly, he's one of the guys who has had some success against Myles Garrett. So that's going to be an awesome, matchup to watch. But on the other side of things, Zadarius Smith had 2 sacks a couple weeks ago, which was fantastic. Alex Wright has been awesome the past couple of weeks. He can be somebody who starts rotating in and playing pretty well. So, there's a bunch of guys, as Elijah Moore looks like behind you walking around, but a bunch of guys have the opportunity to make big plays and to have things start to happen. And it starts up front when they can do that. And one of the things too with CJ Stroud is that he is going to hold on to the football for a while. He's one of the guys who holds on to it the most. Over 3 seconds snap to throw in the year. So they're going to have opportunities to get back there and kind of make his day tough. They're going to need to, because he's an elite thrower, and it'll start up front if they can generate some pressure there.
Look, so many people have seen the stats by now, right? I mean, this is a Browns defense that leads the NFL in several categories. Fewest first downs allowed, fewest yards allowed. In fact, they've allowed the fewest yards in quite a long time. I think only like 241 yards allowed per game. They don't give up a ton of shot plays. Every once in a while, you'll see one happen, but not super regularly. And, it's easy to scheme for a team early in a game, but once you start seeing the adjustments from both sides, second, third quarter is really about, hey, one-on-one, who's better? Who's going to go out and actually make a play? And I think Cleveland feels really good about their guys in man-on-man situations. I'm going to beat this block, or I'm going to beat this defensive back, or whatever it might be. This is a Houston team that's taken good steps forward this year for sure, especially where they were a year ago at the number 2 pick in the draft. But I think Cleveland really likes its health and its talent today.
And I would also add to that, in this game specifically, like the big play threat is with Nico Collins. And it's like, it's almost like it's a feast or famine kind of feel to it, where it's like, hey, they either hit a home run to Nico Collins or they go 3 and out and pump the ball. It's got that kind of feel to it. And when you know that and understand it and have guys who can guard all over the field, you can help to Nico Collins. You can put Denzel Ward or MJ Emerson, whoever's going to be matching up a little bit better on him, and then make John Mechie beat you, make the tight ends beat you, make the running backs try to beat you. Because if you stop Nico Collins, I think you have a really good chance, to kind of shut down the Houston offense and eliminate that big play from the equation today.
We're getting very close to kickoff. 4:30 Eastern, 3:30 Central. The first NFL playoff of the game of the year is in Houston, Texas at NRG Stadium, where I know a lot of Browns fans are also Buckeye fans. Considering what happened in this building on Monday night, I think everybody, the Ohio State fanhood is trying to exercise some demons today from this building as well and flush the bad taste in their mouth from earlier this week. We'll see if the Browns can get it done. Not quite ready. I was going to ask you for a pregame prediction. You pulled the trigger a little too early there on me. Do you have a prediction here how it's going to go today?
I do. I feel very good about what the Browns are going to do today. I think that because, like I mentioned, that Texans offense is very, in my opinion, it feels one-dimensional, where it's that big play kind of big hitter stuff. It feels like if Cleveland can shut that down, and really today's going to be a big day on the offensive side of the ball, just to take care of it. If things aren't clicking early, like just don't turn that thing over, because as this game progresses, you just want to stay in it, make sure you're in it the whole time. And then if you're not turning that thing over, like we haven't done all year long, you're going to have a really good chance to do it. So I'm excited about it. I think the Browns offense will, if it doesn't start early, it's going to find its stride, and they're going to play pretty well today. I got my prediction, I believe on our post today, was about 38-24 Browns. And I think it's going to be a fun one.
So basically like the same kind of output we saw here a couple weeks ago. I think strong
so.
With that.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm rolling with it. I may have been really excited, maybe just watched the hype video or something when I made that prediction, but I'm still going to ride with it.
I appreciate the honesty. I think it's going to be a little bit lower scoring than what we saw a couple of weeks ago. I still think the Browns are going to win the game, though, by roughly a touchdown. I said 27-21. CJ Stroud's really good. He's going to make a couple of good plays somewhere along the way in this game that I think are going to take the wind out of Cleveland's sails a little bit. But ultimately, I like the Browns pretty much in all three phases today. Wish Dustin Hopkins was kicking, but Riley Patterson's been fine here, since he came aboard. So I'm not particularly concerned about that. I'm glad Corey Bojorquez came back last week because I really wanted to see him get out there and get some reps, live game action before the playoffs. So that was huge. I don't know if it's just blind faith or what. I'm trusting in Joe Flacco. This is a guy that understands this stage, and he's not going to be rattled if he turns it over. The Browns have turned it over a lot this year. They've also forced a lot of turnovers. And so I feel like this game could have these emotional up and down swings. And I think the Browns are about as prepared as anybody to handle that. So I think it's going to be a tighter game than what we saw the last time around, especially because CJ Stroud is a difference maker and a legit, right now, probably top 7 NFL quarterback. Despite being a rookie, he's ready for a stage like this. But I do think the Browns are ultimately going to get it done. So looking forward to seeing how this thing all plays out.
Yeah, he's awesome. It's going to be fun to watch. That battle, their offense versus our defense, is going to be one that obviously everyone's watching, but it's going to have a magnifying glass on it. I will add before we go, Riley Patterson, who's kicking today, just rewind about 365 days ago, he did hit the game winner for the Jaguars last year over the Chargers. So he has playoff experience. He's great in the domes. I don't know the exact numbers, but he's upper 90s in the percentages for kicking in the dome. So you got to feel good about him with some playoff experience from last year. So don't fret. We're going to be okay, I think, in the kicking game. Hopefully, knock on wood. But yeah, excited about it.
4th playoff game for the Cleveland Browns since they returned in 1999. The 3rd time they've made the playoffs, hoping for a deeper run than what they had a couple years ago in 2020. We've got you covered wire to wire, not just today, but all playoff run long. We certainly hope that's going to go for several more weeks. In the meantime, for Anthony Meglin, I'm Brendan Gulick. Join us again, Browns Digest on our YouTube channel, also on BrownsDigest.com. We'll look forward to talking to you post-game as we break down what happened in the AFC wildcards. The Cleveland Browns and the Houston Texans coming up shortly.